I really enjoyed Laguna Beach growing up. It was one of my favorite reality TV shows. I also enjoyed the spin-off, The Hills. Actually, I think I like The Hills even more. When The City, the spin-off to the spin-off came out, by that time I had already grown out of reality television. The general TV watching audience did too. Leaving behind reality TV, it's not hard. The audience is self-aware. We know that it's for entertainment. It's fake, it's easy to produce, you're not supposed to take it that seriously. It's just dumb fun. News Exorcist sucks, guys. I really don't like this series. Gakuro is a high schooler who's been able to see spirits ever since he was a kid. His father was killed by spirits. Where have I heard that one before? Also, he has some weird birthmark hair thing that's going on. At least it's not a scar, but it still looks pretty fucking dumb. One day while he's at school, he happens into a room that has this haughty spirit girl living there, and she plays video games and card games, and he's the only person who could have like freed her or some shit. It's so ridiculous. Anyway, this spirit girl is named Nu. She needs Gokura's help so she can accomplish something that doesn't really matter and sounds pretty fucking vague. Through reasons, he ends up getting her powers, and over the next few chapters, we see Gokura and Nu go through all of the typical stuff you would expect in an urban fantasy battle shonen. I'm tired of this Exorcist shit. We have had so many of these series. I don't care if one or two of them happen to work. It doesn't mean you have to keep on greenlighting them. Nothing about News Exorcist is original. All of the characters who are introduced in the early chapters are absolute ass. They are just tropes. The awkward ecchi that the mangaka starts throwing in because there's not a lot of readership or interest in the series is ridiculous. Gakuro or Gokuda or whatever the fuck the dude's name is, he's such a terrible character. His design is not good. At all times, he feels like a supporting character when he's supposed to be seen as the male lead. What? I'm not seeing that at all. And the mangaka knew this was the case because from the opening chapter, instead of trying to build up Gakuro, he keeps relying on flashbacks to remind the reader that the dude's dad got snuffed. That's his entire personality, that he has a dead parent. That's ridiculous, man. The pacing is off, the art wasn't that interesting, I didn't care for any of the characters. Like I said, the character design was absolute ass. News Exorcist has no redeeming points. By chapter 8 of News Exorcist, I started putting together the script for this video. My initial thoughts were about how terribly bland it all was. Definitely not Earthchild or Tokyo Demon Bride story bad, just uninteresting. I really wanted to put the manga on hold and resume it when it was inevitably cancelled. But I've had a bit more time recently, so I decided to get caught up with News Exorcist. And I'm really happy I did. News Exorcist improves so much from the initial batch of chapters. The direction of the manga is very different than what it originally was. I think it's in a much better place than it was before, showcasing all of the mangaka's abilities as a writer and artist. To be honest, I can't see any reason why this series is still being hated on. It's really fucking good. The manga being very different now compared to the early chapters is why it's a decent series. It's not just about fighting spirits or classroom hijinks anymore. The ecchi also doesn't feel forced or random. The thought that has been put into the power system is exceptional. Kota Kawe draws action and beast pretty well. The pacing has also improved a lot. While still not perfect, its flow is a lot better than before. Things just aren't happening anymore. There's reason for all of the conflict. Even if I know characters aren't going to die, I'm very committed to the results of a battle. The Fujino arc going on for as long as it did was a welcome surprise. I'm not sure if this was editorial insight or a misdirection trope utilized exceedingly well, but Kawe really hit it out of the park with the focus on Shiroha and Moroyoki. Kawe is definitely not sleeping. Look at the art. Look at the improvement of this work. You can tell that they are very committed to the series and they have made incredible improvements over the last few months. I wish more mangaka had this ability or this drive. 3 of the manga that I'm reading right now on Jump Plus have moved to a bi-weekly schedule, and none of them are more than 20 chapters long. That kind of bothers me as a reader because I think, especially when you're an unestablished artist, you have to suffer for your work. You have to grind a little bit. You need to set up the early parts of your story, have them flowing week after week, with great installments, because that's what's going to create the goodwill for the rest of your series. This is why I give manga a chance. This is why I don't say 4 or 5 chapters before I drop. I'll read something for 20, 30 chapters, and around that time, it should start getting good. Throughout 2023, News Exorcist was legit a top 20 read for ongoing series. You know what? I'll push it up higher. I'd say it was like a top 10 read, only because of how much it improved. Even Undead Unluck took a little longer to turn around, and I absolutely love that series. So yeah, I think very highly of News Exorcist. I'm gonna do some follow-up installments as well. I really enjoy this series. It is a bit shaky, and we've seen the lows of this mangaka, so it's not like it can't return at a later point in the manga. For now, I think this is a really solid read. If you can power through the first 10 or so chapters where it's kind of shitty, then you will be rewarded with a very interesting urban fantasy exorcist battle shonen. Yeah, I know we have so many of those, but this one isn't bad. 6 out of 10.